It was great having the support of each commissioner in each of the roundtables and seeing that they are trying to push for a more transparent Walton County with development services. And the development services director, Stephen Schoen, and deputy director, Kelly Schultz, have been doing a great job at bringing the department together. Donnie Sway, their building permit review manager, killed every session, so was really happy to have that open dialogue on what goals are needed for the land development code rewrite.
It was great seeing the community come in here and ask questions. They were very clear on some of their issues that they've had since they've been here, and to be inclusive over the years. So I think it was a great round table actually. To listen to everybody on both sides. I think we had some common denominators that we need to focus on, and I don't think we even touched some other issues that are coming down the pipeline that we're going to look into.
We were proud to have some citizens participate. We had one person from the development community, but we had a lot of citizens who are just folks who are interested in learning more about our development review process. And that means a lot to our department because we want to service everybody, including our residents who are just interested in knowing more.
I think the collection of comments that have been made for each district is a good indicator of what is important in each district. So those are things that we need to shape and change what we need to do to make things better. There are different needs or different mindsets that what the community should feel like and look like. Just as different subdivisions have a different look and feel, but then as a whole for Walton County. So I think issues need to be addressed because they do have different assets. They may have more water bodies, they may have more wetlands, they may have more open space for folks to enjoy for the county, and that's what we need to look at.
We discussed some issues that don't get a lot of attention on the county-wide level because the north end is, or District 2, is different than all the other districts, with the possible exception of District 3. So we need to have a discussion about things that apply to the north end, and a lot of the discussion today was about the fear of government regulation and the desire to keep regulations down, particularly in the north end. And that's valuable to us because so much of our north area is agriculture. And the rules for land use for agricultural land are so different than the land use for a subdivision or a town. So our citizens got a chance to express that desire to keep our ag land with different freedoms than other places. That's good. And the land development code and the comprehensive plan are such important parts of our county government. And we deal with that more probably than any other issue on a regular basis. And people need to understand the rules, but they also need to have the opportunity to define the rules. And this today gave people an opportunity to define the rules for their way of life. And I appreciate that, and I'm glad that we were able to provide the forum for them.
There was a lot of discussion on compatibility with neighboring properties and how we can better define things in the land development code. There were a few items such as sidewalks that were discussed as well, sidewalk widths and if they should be on one side of the street or both sides of the street. So some really interesting topics. I would say a big topic was wetlands as well, wetlands and wetland mitigation. It sounds like we will be doing another workshop on that later on in the next few months. So we're excited to bring back some of our findings to BOCC soon with some updates.
So first we go back and look at what our current land development code says, and we do have conflicts and we do have some items that need clarity because the whole area is being redeveloped or changing. So we need to address some of the outdated items. And lessen the conflicts between our codes that we use, so the public has an expectation of how we're going to get through this, what are going to be our roadblocks, and we want to kind of lessen those roadblocks from here on out. So we'll take those details, make changes within the language of the Land Development Code, and then bring that back for adoption.
I think we've taken a huge step in that direction. We're probably going to hit some stumbles here and there on our way, just like if you heard this evening with data banks and everything else, that you can't get information from here, but you can from here. And the public needs to know that there's a better way or a better process that streamlines all those more efficiently.
We're in the middle of a rewrite. The rewrite was postponed a little bit because of Senate Bill 180, which prohibits us from making tighter rules. So we have a little opportunity to do better and to do more intensive and drill down into what we really want. So after this is all done, we'll compilate the results and then begin the rewrite of the comp plan and the Land Development Code. We've hired SwiftGov for a couple of reasons. The first one is to help us speed up the permitting process, which they are doing, and that's great. But they're also going to help us with rewriting the code and making it better.
I would love to, kind of minimize the gray areas when it comes to land development code, comprehensive plan, policies. I think the end user needs to feel comfortable with the information they're actually getting online. I'm hoping that a lot of these processes the folks can view online instead of calling in or showing up in person. Like I said earlier, a lot of folks don't like to get into that. Your single family home maybe, or your crowd that's not technology inclined. But I think that's a big step. If you can go on there without 20 keystrokes to get your answer, I think that's a plus.
Well, a big part of our changes are going to be with the assistance of our SwiftGov partners through the use of AI, and even things like being able to ask a question on our website and getting specific information about where your property is located. We hope that we get some feedback from our citizens and even those who just work in Walton County to help us understand where their struggles are, where their roadblocks are. We also hope to use that information if there's something in the code that is their roadblock and not our process, to update the Land Development Code to help make the requirements under the code easier for our citizens and builders.
And I think some of the things to make it better is to differentiate between a subdivision rule and a 1,000-acre farming operation rule. Those are two different things, and we need to have rules applicable to both of them. And we found that the one size fits all fits no one. So I think we're going to go down the right track with the assistance of the people at SwiftGov and our staff. Our staff is doing a marvelous job trying to not only do their job, but try to improve their job. And that's a valuable thing.
I've had several conversations with Sabrina and also the county administrator, I believe it was either Hardy or Hernando, that used them. I can't remember exactly which county, but they did wonders down there. I mean, they went as far as now this county wants them to come back and help their building department because the planning department is so fluent and streamlined. So the backlog is at the building department. So I mean, I think they are going to be essential. They're almost the glue to bring staff, citizens, the county as a whole, all together, so we're all working in the same direction.
I think it was great. We were so excited to have every commissioner present for each of their roundtables, and we had over, I believe, 106 or 107 attendees. It couldn't have been better. Lots of community input and feedback, and we're really excited to bring forward all the top questions and comments to the upcoming BOCC meeting. Stephen's going to bring a comprehensive packet that will be included in the agenda.